think we'll start off is about pornographying the word gangs in the first place. For me, I've gone so far that I don't even accept the thing of ex-gang member, because I don't want young people out there to be thinking
to glorify it.
Yeah, so it's gone more than glorifying it. I'll use the word pornographying it, because we've got a lot of people that have never even been on the pavements calling themselves gang members. So if I'm a young person that's out there now living that life, I'm going to think, you know what, I've got time to retire and then go and get a job and then make some money off saying I'm an ex-gang member. So it's for people and elders to stop all of that glorifying, oh yeah, I've lived that life, don't worry, everyone's going to survive, because not everyone's going to survive. A lot of people are going to end up dead, a lot of people are going to end up in jail, and a lot of people are going to end up with mental health. So we need to break it down and let people know what it's like to kill someone. When you're having the nightmares about the person that you've killed, it's not what you saw in the movies or the music. Someone's dead, they're not coming back. And a lot of the young people think that they could go out there and stab people and shoot people and no one's going to die until they cross the line and kill someone.
And what was your journey into this kind of life, and how did you manage to pull yourself out? Because as you say, it's hard to pull yourself out once you're in it.
For me, by the age of 8, I was already able to do my sax, and because of behaviour, the teachers then started labelling me as one of the naughty kids. So is it because of my behaviour or ability to do the work why I'm a naughty kid? So because of that, I couldn't get in no good secondary schools. I ended up in a boys' school. The minute I've ended up in there, there's already people in there that's already on the streets. So because of labelling someone from 8 years old, you've then pushed them into an environment where they're now struggling to survive. How many other young people are out there going through that? And I could tell you that there's hundreds. I was even down in Southend up to last year working with young boys.
You know that?
Yeah, I was down in Clacton and down in Chelmsford doing work with young boys, and it's not just a black issue, because there's young white and mixed race boys down there suffering with the same thing that we're suffering with in London.
And finally, before I move to you, Sass, what do you think can be done so now, the work you do, to try and prevent some of this?
I think if we look at the stats, we're now surpassed the amount of murders for 2017. We've gone more than 20.
There was another one just today.
I'm not surprised. And we've gone over 20 for 2016. Each murder to investigate is 1.7 million, depending on if there's a retrial and a number of co-defendants. We've also got the POCA money. Where does that go? The Proceeds of Crimes Act money. So when we're talking about, oh yeah, there's no money to do this and no money to do that, not everyone in the community is stupid. There's millions out there, but you choose to play with us and offer us £40 million to do serious youth violence work when you've just confiscated probably that amount of one drug dealer or someone committing crime. Put that money back into the community instead of using the 1.7 to investigate over 90 murders. That's over £90 million gone. Why didn't you put that back into the grassroots community? Let the community police themselves and mediate themselves and talk to the young people and offer the young people entrepreneurial enterprise things, offer them funding for their companies. A lot of them think that they're CEOs and managers. Help them set up their companies. This is why a lot of them are turning to drug dealing, because they want to drive that burning sensation of being an entrepreneur within them, which no school or no college is teaching them how to do. Instead, we're teaching people how to be factory workers. We're no longer in the Victorian times.
On the note of entrepreneurial spirit, Saskila's the grime minister, grime artist, they're joining us as well. Entrepreneurship, what does music mean for you? Is it a way to empower yourself and stand on your own feet and produce your own content?
I think for anybody from an urban background, for like decades, that's been an outlet to be an entrepreneur, to stand on your own 2 feet, put out a product, and the money you make, annum, by the end of the year, it's based off of your effort. It's based off of you. It's not based off of somebody telling you pack out for or whatever. So of course, in our setting, urban music or whatever you want to call it, this is an outlet for people from this background to get into other fields, or even use the popularity from this to go into food or catering or something else. Once you build up a profile, which is what is important in modern day times, it's all about profile. So the profile from music and sports, which is obviously always thrown, especially if you're black, you're thrown sports, you're thrown music. These are outlets that you can use to get where you're going. We haven't got an uncle with a treasury fund or some stocks and bonds.
So you're an established grime artist, right? Tell me this: what would you have done with your life if you didn't have music as an outlet?
If I didn't have music as an outlet, I'm not gonna say the cliche. Yeah, I would have just been on the roads. I would have just been trying to survive. No, I was a person that applied myself. Anything I would have put myself to, I could have put me in Timbuktu. I would have still made something of myself, because I'm gonna apply myself in any environment. But at those times, I realized very, very young that it's just knowledge. A lot of people don't have a lot of knowledge. A lot of people don't have the tools. They don't have the repertoire in their bank, in their minds, like to work out what's going on around them. So they fall into traps or purpose, if that's a word that we can say, purpose. When I was young, I realized I need to have a purpose, whether it be me trying to enlighten other people's lives through my music, or tell my story, or whether it be to try to provide for my family and make them proud. I need to have a purpose. A lot of young people right now don't have a purpose, and we could sit here all day and say, yes, what is the rise in the we know what the rise is. We've got a crap ass government. They don't give a crap about what's going on. You're saying a rise in knife crime, but yet we're ignoring the factors of why this is actually happening. This is a punishment from the government. This is actually like, all right,
talking
cool.
about like the cuts.
This is
like
a direct punishment. You think out of nowhere, hundreds of kids are just dying on the street out of nowhere, just by a blink of an eye. We had a riot worldwide. The country was embarrassed. All of a sudden, these urban kids have disturbed what Great Britain looks like. Oh God, the Queen's gonna fall off her throne. How could they be rioting and going all the way up to Westminster almost? It was an embarrassment for the country. So the government said, you know what? All these urban pieces of scum, they're going to suffer now. We're not investing back in your communities. You're not gonna have anything. Everything's getting cut. There's no EMA to send these kids to college. There's no universities for them to get into. So when we're saying, oh, why is there knife crime? If you don't value your own life and your life's not being valued, what are you going to do? You're just going to go out here and be an animal.
Now,
and that's literally what's going on.
Some of this narrative, Sas, that's coming from, let's put establishment in quotation marks, right? What they're doing is, instead of focusing on the cuts, so I've done a lot of conversations on this on radio, and I've said it's a no-brainer, right? If you're going to take money away from communities, you're going to take money away from community policing, which is people out there on the street getting to know their communities instead of sitting somewhere remotely and doing things from far away. If you're going to take that money away, then of course, a bit like that game SimCity. Do you guys ever play that?
Yeah,
of course. It's a thing, right? So, but some people instead, they want to focus on drill music. And that's where I want to ask you specifically. They want to focus and say ban the music itself.
Okay,
how do you respond to that?
All right, so let's say, for instance, because there's so funny how there's people at home right now that are listening and they're like, this guy, he doesn't know what he's saying. This is definitely the music. Them lads are right there killing each other. The blah blah blah, etc. etc. There's two sides of people. There's only two arguments. There's no argument in between. You either believe it's the music. And truthfully, all the murders in London are due to somebody going in a microphone in a booth, and that's the reason why there's murders. Or you believe something systematically has happened, and over a period of time, we've deteriorated to just pure animals where hundreds of people are dying. This is what's happening now. So if it's happening, it hasn't happened overnight. It's been happening gradually. There wasn't no drill music in the 90s when there was Scottish boys stabbing each other. I saw that on the news every single. That was a big thing in the 90s. I saw all these white boys stabbing each other. I didn't see any drill music. I didn't see any artists or any masks or any balaclavas. So it's just a culture. When there's bad economic standing in that area, or there's no prospects. There are no prospects right now.
Well, you mentioned that. For example, you mentioned Southend, Gwenton, and I remember, back in, it was famous, the beaches, Brighton, Southend, they were famous for the mods and rockers going down and fight the motorcycle gangs fighting each other with bicycle chains. They didn't have drill music. What they did have, they were working class young men that didn't have much to live for, basically, and so they found an identity in these trends, whether it's mods, the rockers, the Teddy Boys, this was all, because I'm talking, 50s and 60s, and the working class kids in the cities in these days happen to be people of colour, not white, because the demographics have changed. So is it more a class thing? And I want to bring Grenfell into this as well. Is it more of a class thing than a race thing?
All right, if I was to ask you a simple question is like this: what's the difference between a football hooligan and a gang member? Nothing. But the laws that are being used on gang members are not being applied to football hooligans, because it's a different class of people that go out in midweek and on the weekends and commit violence.
Yeah.
So it's clear that we're here to target certain individuals out there that are committing exactly the same crime as football hooligans. And if I just broke down the stats to you of the amount of millions that's available to invest back into these young people and these communities for them to feel good about themselves, where's that money going?
Yeah. Are people listening to you, the government?
Well, I'm up and down the country delivering training, and to be honest, it's sad to say that it's like everyone's in pain together. Whether it's a social worker, the police officer, the foster carers, everyone's in pain. The community is in pain.
Those are the people that are not being mentioned. The social workers, the probation officers, these are the people that the funding's been cut in these areas too. So if these people are feeling the burn, how can you expect them to keep a control or any sort of, there's the functions of it systematically has already been broken down. Like, the government doesn't care. They already have abandoned this. Sadiq doesn't know what the hell to do. He's just basically trying to wait until, let me just politically play my part so I can get into the party and then play a role. He's not caring about the situation because right now someone's mother,
you mean
who's
the Mayor of London,
the Mayor of London right now, he's lost. He don't know what he's doing. Do you think he really is down in these hoods doing this thing? He's trying to get into his own political thing. This is nothing to do with these mothers losing their sons. These mothers losing their sons is happening right now. Man are saying, oh, let's go get some more police. Bring more police. To do what?
I see part of the
What, to
problem
sit
is
outside
that
and wait for crime?
that they're playing political football. So you've got the Mayor of London blaming the Home Secretary, and the Home Secretary playing So Gwenton, you tell me, because you advise the government on this, right? So what's going on there? Is it? I mean, it's like, for the sake of politics, one's a Conservative, right? One's Labour, and kids are dying on the streets in the meanwhile.
Yeah, well, this is a game. Until you could see through the cracks of the nonsense, then you'll believe what you see on the media. And it's the same thing. We're not just talking about Grenfell, we're talking about Windrush. They claim that they've set up a compensation scheme. It's not been done. So sometimes we mustn't believe the sound bites that we're told on the streets. Oh, all the young kids are killing each other at the beginning of this year, to the point where they said that we've reached more deaths than New York. But yet then, as soon as it comes out the media, the killings have slowed down. So is it the media driving the killings or what?